December 6, 2023 News Report 1. The Italian Evening Post reports that Italy has officially announced its withdrawal from China's Belt and Road Initiative, marking a significant setback for Chinese diplomacy. The Italian government had formally delivered the withdrawal decision to China 3 days ago, although specific details have not been publicly disclosed by both governments. Insiders suggest that despite this decision, the two countries can still maintain open channels for dialogue. In 2019, Italy had announced its participation in China's Belt and Road Initiative, becoming the only G7 member to join. However, in recent years, Italy realized the significant costs associated with participation in the initiative and decided to exit. The Belt and Road Agreement between China and Italy is set to expire on March 22 next year. Italian Prime Minister Meloni, who criticized joining the Belt and Road as a wrong decision when taking office last year, stated in September that exiting the initiative would not harm Italy-China relations. Italian Foreign Minister Di Maio mentioned in September that joining the Belt and Road did not yield the expected results, and the Italian public generally views it as China buying political influence. News Report 2. With just over a month left until the Taiwan presidential election, the Taiwanese police have recently uncovered 680 cases of election gambling, involving 630 individuals, setting a new record. On December 6, the Pingtung District Prosecutor's Office successfully cracked a large-scale election gambling case. Some individuals used the pretext of the presidential and vice-presidential elections, collecting a total of 450 million new Taiwan dollars with each bet set at 10,000 NTD. Currently, major election betting items include candidates' poll rankings, the number of electoral votes, and the total number of votes. Entering the final stage of the election campaign, political parties have initiated full mobilization. Democratic Progressive Party, DPP, Chairman Lai Ching-te issued a mobilization order at the DPP Central Standing Committee meeting on December 6, urging party members to engage in auxiliary campaigns, such as street canvassing, visits, and discussions in assigned regions. Lai Ching-te mentioned that the situation during the last 9-in-1 elections was quite severe, and local party branches and supporters need to work together to prevent unexpected changes in the election landscape. The People First Party plans to start producing KPTV programs on December 7, broadcasting 8 hours daily, covering policies, current affairs, and daily live broadcasts of at-large legislator Ko Wen-je. Kuomintang's, KMT, vice presidential candidate, Chow Shao-kang, took leave on December 6 to participate in the election. He currently serves as the chairman and general manager of Central Broadcasting Corporation, CBC. CBC Director Chen Xingyi is acting in his position. This move has attracted the attention of the National Communications Commission because, according to Taiwanese law, public officials are not allowed to serve as directors and supervisors of media organizations, but they can take leave to participate in elections. News Report 3. The official website of the U.S. Navy's 7th Fleet announced that on December 6, the U.S. P-8 Poseidon anti-submarine patrol aircraft flew through the Taiwan Strait. This long-range anti-submarine aircraft possesses capabilities for maritime patrol reconnaissance and anti-submarine missions. The 7th Fleet stated that the U.S. action is based on international law, aimed at safeguarding the navigation rights and freedoms of all countries. The flyover of the Taiwan Strait by the U.S. Poseidon aircraft underscores its commitment to the free and open Indo-Pacific region. Subsequently, the Eastern Theater Command of the Chinese People's Liberation Army released a statement on its WeChat account, stating that it had organized aircraft to track and monitor the U.S. patrol aircraft. However, the U.S. patrol aircraft's actions did not face any further intervention. It is noteworthy that U.S. Navy Poseidon patrol aircraft had also flown over the Taiwan Strait in October and July this year. This demonstrates the U.S. exerting pressure on China through frequent military actions, leading to China taking military actions in the Taiwan Strait region to safeguard its strategic interests. News Report 4. U.S. Assistant Secretary of Defense for Indo-Pacific Security Affairs Ratke, in an interview with the Defense Writers Group on December 5, stated that this year has been the most significant year in the past decade for the U.S. military's deployment changes in the Indo-Pacific region. Despite events such as Russia's invasion of Ukraine and Hamas attacks on Israel, the U.S. Department of Defense continues to focus on addressing challenges from China. Defense Secretary Austin has concentrated his attention on China-related issues. Ratke pointed out that China is the only country willing and capable of reshaping the international order, which remains the core assessment of the U.S. defense strategy and is still valid. In the past year, the U.S. has made significant progress in its Indo-Pacific strategy. In December of last year, the U.S. and Australia held a 2+2 meeting of defense and foreign ministers, following which the U.S. increased its rotational military forces in Australia, and Australia initiated significant military deployments in the north. Additionally, the U.S. adjusted its troops in Japan, establishing a Marine Expeditionary Unit in Okinawa, becoming the most advanced combat formation of the Marine Corps. This move makes the U.S. deployment in Japan more flexible, mobile, and lethal. In February of this year, Austin visited the Philippines, and the Philippines provided for military bases to the U.S. military. In May and June, Austin visited the Indo-Pacific region, discussing U.S. strategic concepts with ASEAN, India, Australia, Japan, South Korea, the Philippines, and some European countries. Furthermore, Vice Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff General Grady stated on December 4 that the U.S. military has the capability to simultaneously support Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. News Report 5. In the latest Taiwan Democracy Lab reports on China's influence, the United States is shown to possess the military capability to simultaneously support Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. The report assesses China's influence on other countries in 9 aspects, including media, academia, economy, and society. This year's report indicates that Pakistan is the country most influenced by China, ranking first, followed by Cambodia in second place, and surprisingly, Singapore in third. Thailand ranks fourth, and Peru is in fifth place. Taiwan is positioned at 11th in this ranking, but excels in the media and society sectors, indicating that Taiwan's media and society are most affected by China. China has gradually penetrated various levels of Taiwanese society through infiltrating its media, collaborating with religious and charitable organizations, and cultural institutions. In the economic field, Australia and New Zealand are assessed as the countries most influenced by China. This is attributed to the Chinese government using policies to halt the import of their goods, subjecting them to economic coercion. In academia, the United States is considered the country most influenced by China, including the presence of Confucius Institutes in universities, student organizations closely linked to Chinese consulates, and collaborations between U.S. universities and Chinese companies like Huawei, Tencent, and Alibaba. Think tanks and research institutions in the U.S. also receive significant financial support from Chinese entities, making the U.S. most influenced by China in the academic field. News Report 6. Radio Free Asia reports that the Pediatric Emergency Department of a Beijing hospital recently issued a notice requiring feverish children seeking medical attention to undergo nucleic acid testing to rule out COVID-19 infection. A citizen, Ms. Yu, visited the pediatric department of the 301 hospital on December 6 with her son. After reviewing the emergency form, the doctor requested nucleic acid testing. Due to the high number of children seeking medical attention, Ms. Yu's son was redirected to another children's hospital for emergency treatment. Mr. Wu, a Beijing resident, stated that the city has established free nucleic acid testing sites, mainly located at train stations, airports, and other places. Additionally, individuals attending meetings are required to undergo nucleic acid testing 1 day in advance, and only those with negative results can participate in the meeting. On December 6, Beijing held an awards ceremony for the China Textile Industry Federation, and attendees needed to undergo nucleic acid testing in advance, presenting a negative certificate to participate. Beijing residents expressed confusion as the focus on COVID-19 seemed to resurface without clear explanations from the government. Moreover, an increasing number of provinces and cities, including Fujian, Shaanxi, Sichuan, Zhejiang, Guangdong, and others, have started to restore the use of health codes. The health codes in these regions were brought back online on December 1, displaying temporarily as green codes. The relevant department stated that the previous nucleic acid testing data would be retained without clearing. News Report 7. Bloomberg reports that President Xi Jinping plans to visit Vietnam from December 12 to 13. The initial plan was to stay for 3 days from December 14th to 16th, but reports suggest that the itinerary has been shortened to 2 days. During Foreign Minister Wang Yi's visit to Vietnam last week, arrangements for Xi Jinping's visit were discussed with Vietnamese officials. However, the specific itinerary for Xi Jinping's visit to Vietnam has not been publicly disclosed by the Chinese and Vietnamese foreign ministries. Xi Jinping's last visit to Vietnam was in 2017, when he attended the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation (APEC) summit in Da Nang, staying for 3 days. Meanwhile, U.S. President Biden visited Vietnam in September this year, elevating Vietnam's diplomatic relations with the United States to a comprehensive strategic partnership, on par with its relations with China and Russia. This move is considered a significant step by the U.S. to counterbalance China and Russia. Although the foreign ministries have not publicly disclosed Xi Jinping's visit itinerary, the reduction from the originally planned 3 days to 2 suggests that Sino-Vietnamese relations may not be very close. The shortening of this visit may reflect the level of tension between the two sides. News Report 8. Kyodo News reports that the commander of the Philippine Coast Guard, Mr. Gavino, stated on December 5 that President Duterte has issued an order to build a large patrol vessel base in Subic Bay. Subic Bay is located in the northern part of Luzon Island in the Philippines, close to disputed waters with China, and is also a strategic location. In the past, the U.S. military had a military base there. The Japan International Cooperation Agency, JITSA, started assisting the Philippines in base construction and preparation work since June last year. The Japanese government also plans to provide 5 patrol vessels measuring 97 meters in length to the Philippines, expected to be delivered starting from 2027. Gavino mentioned that the Philippine government is also discussing whether to build a large patrol vessel base in Manila Bay. To enhance maritime security, the Philippines also plans to increase the recruitment of Coast Guard personnel from the current 30,000 to 100,000 through international assistance. These measures indicate that the Philippines is actively addressing its disputes with China in the South China Sea. News Report 9. Bloomberg reports that the stock price of the Hong Kong Exchanges and Clearing Limited, HKEX, has experienced a 25% plunge this year, resulting in a $14 billion reduction in market value. This decline tops the list among 24 listed securities and exchanges globally, making it the most substantial drop. The Hong Kong stock market is also one of the worst-performing markets globally this year, with the Hang Seng Index falling by 22%, reaching 16,400 points from its previous 19,000 points. The average daily turnover of Hong Kong stocks in the first 7 months of this year was significantly lower at 110 billion Hong Kong dollars compared to 160 billion Hong Kong dollars last year. As of October 5, the full-day turnover of Hong Kong stocks was only 47 billion Hong Kong dollars, hitting a new low since December 28, 2018. Due to the absence of major new listings, the performance of Hong Kong IPOs this year is even worse than during the SARS period in 2002. The market dynamism driven by new stocks in the past is no longer present. This series of performances further confirms the loss of Hong Kong's status as a financial center. In this context, the 23 legislations scheduled to be introduced in Hong Kong next year have attracted attention, raising concerns about the future development of Hong Kong. News Report 10. On December 6, Wanda Film announced in a statement that Wanda Culture Group in Beijing has sold its 51% stake to Shanghai Rui Investment Company. Previously, on July 23, Wanda Culture had already transferred a 49% stake to Shanghai Rui. This transaction signifies that Wanda Culture Group has completely divested its equity in Wanda Film. The earlier 49% stake was sold for $2.2 billion, and with the completion of this deal, Wang Jianlin has completely exited the film industry. Despite Wanda Film achieving a total revenue of $11.3 billion in the first 3 quarters of this year, a YoY increase of 47%, and a profit of $1.1 billion, Wang Jianlin still chose to sell these assets to alleviate the group's debt crisis. Throughout this year, Wanda has been seeking to sell assets to address financial pressures, having previously sold Shanghai Zhaopu Wanda Plaza to Evergrande Life. Shanghai Rui Investment Company was established in 2013 and has received acclaim for some of its films like Hi, Mom, and Send Me a Little Red Flower. Hi, Mom achieved a box office of 5.4 billion, ranking third in the history of Chinese cinema. The founder of the company, Li Ming, does not have a background in the film industry but was formerly an analyst in the monetary and banking sector. He successfully transitioned into establishing such a renowned film company. News Report 11. A joint commemorative event was held by the U.S. Chinese community and Asian organizations to mark the 80th anniversary of the repeal of the Chinese Exclusion Act. On December 5, at the U.S. Capitol, dozens of organizations called for reflection on history, prevention of historical repetition, and encouraged more Asians to participate in democratic processes in American society. This event aimed to examine some past wrongdoings in U.S. history, emphasizing that these actions are considered wrong from a modern perspective. This continuous practice of reflecting on history is known as rectification and aims to prevent the recurrence of historical mistakes. Several members of the U.S. Congress and government officials attended the event, including U.S. Trade Representative Katherine Tai. Tai stated that amid current tensions in U.S.-China relations, the U.S. criticizes the policies and practices of the Chinese government, not the Chinese people or ethnic Chinese. She emphasized that the U.S. can safeguard its economic interests and national security while actively embracing diversity and curbing hate crimes against Chinese and Asian communities. She pointed out that the Chinese Exclusion Act was passed in 1882, prohibiting Chinese immigration and restricting intermarriage between Chinese and whites. This discriminatory policy persisted for 60 years until it was repealed in 1943. In 2011 and 2012, the U.S. Congress respectively passed resolutions apologizing to the Chinese American community for the past implementation of the Chinese Exclusion Act, representing a national acknowledgement and apology for historical mistakes. News Report 12. In 2023, the Chinese Academy of Sciences and the Chinese Academy of Engineering announced the addition of 133 new academicians. However, the revealed results have sparked controversy as 36 of them come from university leadership positions, serving as presidents or secretaries. Among these, 27 are presidents, and 11 are secretaries. Some media outlets have listed the names of these 36 university leaders, including Sun Qixin from China Agricultural University, Ding Shuiding from Civil Aviation University of China, Kai Yuanqiang from Zhejiang University of Technology, and Li Xingquan from Shenzhen University. This list has prompted questioning from some netizens, with some stating that it does not represent a list of scientific achievements but rather appears as a list of job titles. Academicians are expected to be individuals who have made systematic and innovative contributions to the fields of science, technology, or engineering. The scientific research contributions of these university leaders have faced some controversy, with claims that they are more involved in school management rather than deep engagement in scientific research. This has raised questions about the criteria and procedures for selecting academicians. This represents some of the controversy surrounding the newly added academicians in 2023 in China.